I get asked a lot from all kinds of people in different situations, whether it's in my social life or personal life or even past clients. And when people come and say, I'm thinking about buying a house, or my nephew's thinking about buying a house, one of the first things that I love to do is just to start a conversation about what is causing them to even think about buying a home. Because it's interesting, everyone's got a different approach to what is important for them about buying a home or why they're buying a home. And it can be a lot of great life events like a marriage, a new child, a new job. But it can also be some difficult things like divorce or death or a job relocation or a job loss. But my first thing that I like to do is to establish the criteria of what is their motivation. We always say, like, measure the motivation, understand what's helping them move forward. And then the biggest question is, what's their budget? What is their financial strategy? As opposed to saying, what's your pre-approval or what would you like to spend? It's about what's the financial strategy, because there's a big piece of the puzzle of buying a home is the financial piece, obviously. And that's always an important thing that we want to line up at the very beginning, as well as then establishing the fun things like geography, school district, close to family, close to your places of worship. All of those things are going to play a role in the criteria that I'm going to build for you. So once we establish your financial strategy and your budget, and I get them introduced to my preferred lender with cross-country mortgage, and we basically get them understanding the financial strategy, and then we dive into the fun stuff: bedrooms, bathrooms, fenced yard, a townhome, a condo, a single detached home. Where do they want to be? And those are some of the critical questions I think that really help establish and start the process. And then I can build a specific search for them. Buyers will overlook certain things when we're in a home. I like to point out certain things that they might miss, like the condition of the windows, the age of the furnace, what type of heating and cooling, all those little things that are kind of important, especially if you've never owned a home before. If you're a first-time home buyer, you're not going to really know, oh, the HVAC system is this, or what's going on with the plumbing system. What type of roof do I have? What type of insulation do I have? Windows, all those things. So buyers can overlook a lot. And so it's really good to have someone in your corner who's going to understand some of the nuances of each and different home. I would say for the last 4 or 5 years, and I've been doing this for 21 years, the last 4 or 5 years has been extremely competitive and very difficult and challenging for buyers. It's been more of a seller's market. Sellers are calling the shots. Buyers are jumping as high as they possibly can to win the deal. And in this market, you really need an agent who's going to understand not only your financial strategy and financial strength, but also what are the nuances of the other listing agents' offers in hand. I can find out as much information as I possibly can to help you strategize and put together and craft a really competitive offer. Not always about numbers, it's about terms, it's about what can we throw at the seller to help enhance our offer without necessarily affecting the price, the different terms that are a part of it. So there's a lot of nuances to help you win the day as a buyer's agent. And that's my goal, to help you find the right home, get the right home in the right time frame that works for you. Throughout my career, I've been asked by many buyers, like, what are you going to do differently for me than the other agent that I talked to last week? And that's a really good question, because a lot of people know a lot of different real estate agents, and sometimes we're a dime a dozen. But I think it's about the relationship that you form with your agent, and also understanding a level of trust. And I think, having done this for 20 years, my mom and dad did this for 30 years before me, the amount of trust and sincerity that I put into my clients and into the operations of every day is going on behind the scenes. And I always say there's about 120 steps from the time that I meet with you and we start going through the process, the time we go under contract to the time we close. And a lot of those steps you're not even going to know about, like the appraisal got ordered, or the got ordered through the township. All these different things are happening behind the scenes, and we're moving parts. And the critical thing, I think, in real estate that a lot of people don't understand is that there are so many parties to the process. We've got, obviously, the two agents working for the different parties. We've got the buyer and seller. We might have an estate attorney on one side. You're going to have the title company. You're going to have the lender. You're going to have the appraiser, the underwriter, the township. All of these different people are doing things in the background to act in good faith to move from contract all the way to the settlement date. And all those things are happening. And I'm kind of managing almost like the general contractor or the triage to make sure things are happening in a timely fashion and everything is going. And I'm going to alert you when you need to know this is coming, or we need to change this or focus on this. So it's a lot of different things that you don't even realize. I think one of the things of a success story I'd like to share with you, if you're thinking about, well, Chris, tell us about a client that's had a good experience. I mean, obviously you can read Google reviews, you can go online and see all that. But one of the clients that has impacted me that comes to the top of my mind, it's a young couple. I helped them buy their first home. She was an immigrant from Venezuela and married a missionary, and I helped them buy a home here locally. And that relationship has really blossomed over the years. I've learned about her culture, and I've really got to help her family, her parents, her sisters, her brothers, her cousins, a lot of family coming to start a new life in America. And it's been amazing to see that one simple relationship that I built with this couple, and how it's blossomed and become a real trusting relationship with the family that I've gotten to know over the years. And I count that as a blessing when you do a good job for someone and they are going to then refer you to their family, to their friends. That's the biggest endorsement that I could ever ask for. There's been a lot of different stories I could tell you about helping buyers through the process of buying a home. I think at the end of the day, it's about you feeling comfortable with an agent that you trust, that you enjoy, because we're going to spend a lot of time together. Sometimes it's a couple of months, sometimes it's a year, depending upon what your goals are and the amount of homes that we can look at and your time frame. So I think that's pretty much my overview of how I can help you through the buying agent process without getting into the nitty-gritty of the contracts and the details. I think that's a kind of general overview of what is important to you as a buyer to look in for a buyer's agent to look for those qualities. There's a couple other things I'd like to bring up that's important in you finding the right agent. And one of them is the relationship that I have been able to build over 21 years in the local greater Philadelphia market has been amazing. I've gotten to work with so many great other professional agents on many transactions, and I'm on the buying side or I'm on the listing side. And that has really been an advantage. I will say this, if you have a reputation as a professional, someone who's going to really get things done and not mess things up or amp things up or make it about myself or about anything else, and really focus on the client's needs and getting everything together. There have been a couple of times that I can think of recently where my relationship with an agent has got me into a home maybe a little bit sooner, or I got my client in there, or I was able to talk to the listing agent a little bit on the side about what's going on really, what are the best terms that your seller is looking for. And that's been an advantage for my clients, being able to get that information into their agreement and then really presenting a professional agreement to a listing agent who knows and respects me as an agent. So that's another benefit too that sometimes people don't think about. And then lastly, I'll say this, is that I talked about the turbulence of the whole real estate transaction, and that's true. So many times people have said to me, oh, Chris, you're just in sales. And I was like, well, it's really not sales all the time. It's more about counseling, because here comes the fact that the roof is shot or that there was mold in the basement. And that can really cause stress and emotion and fear and anxiety within the buyer. And I get that. And so then it's my job to say, okay, let's take this situation and see what is really happening here. I talk them off the ledge, but to say, hey, this could be a problem and we want to either terminate and walk away from the house, or let's get a third party professional in here to look at the mold, to look at the roof and get an assessment of, okay, what is the true cost of what this defective issue might be? And so that's where I'm going to have a team of people from roofers, plumbers, electricians, mold remediators, radon people, all these home inspectors that I get to know that are going to come in. They're going to be able to give you professional information in a timely fashion, because we've got a clock ticking when we're under contract. And those are critical pieces that have to happen at a moment's notice a lot of times. So that's another thing that's going to be able to help you win the day and get you the house that you want.